Okay, and we're back uh, with Jamie Gilliland, and we're going to talk about as I led in the break, I talked about this next topic being one of the reasons I believe in your ability to be an inner champion and use inner strengths uh, to help yourself in the ways we're talking about in the course of this summit. And it's an inner strength that a lot of people have been convinced does not exist in them, or that if it did, it no longer does because of things we've experienced, the hurts we've had, traumas we've had, mistakes we've made, things we maybe feel bad about, guilt about, shame about. Um, Underneath all of that is one of the sources of unstoppable strength, unstoppable inner strength, and that is your wholeness. Now, there's in our society right now, there's a very pervasive paradigm that so many of us, some people think all of us, we're just broken and damaged people. And that's you're way more awesome than any sense of brokenness you have or have had. Underneath our hurts is our wholeness. There's a part of us, there may be parts of us that are hurt and need healing. 100%. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is underneath that, here's the cool thing. So as we work towards healing our emotional wounds and our pains, our traumas, etc., we work towards this sense of wholeness, of being healed. The whole entire time we're in process of that wholeness that we wish we felt already exists at our core essence. And that's what we're going to help you get into feeling and using. And that's what we're talking about. The topic is wholeness, how to feel your wholeness and use it to draw strength from it. And there's, in my experience, it's under when I've had massive pains in my life that I've had to heal through, and in the process of doing that, I learned to go under the pain, but to do that I had to feel through the pain. That's what being an inner champion helps with that. Okay, all right, it hurts like hell, but I'm an inner champion. I can do this. I'm going to dig down in there. I'm going to get through. I'm going to feel it, and then you feel far enough in. What I found, I took some forays, some practice runs to where I could get to where I'd feel, oh wait, what's that? That's different. That's not pain. That's something else, and it's part of me. I can feel that it's innate in me and my core. It feels really, really good, and there was an instant sense of relief the first time I tapped into it, and and then it was gone. But when I was but it exists, and so time and again I dive down through the hurts, and I would get to where I'd feel that wholeness for longer periods, and then I started working with it, and what I found was that when I would get into that, tap into that feeling, that wholeness that just is, that I don't have to work toward it happening, it's already there. It would transmute my pain. There's a healing factor of wholeness where it takes the pain and just it relieves it and then it heals it. And to the extent that happens, it varies, right? There's a lot of variables. How much do we believe in it, resist it? How much are we willing to feel the pain to get to the wholeness? How much trust do we have in ourselves that we can even do that? How much have we been taught that this doesn't exist in us? So there's variables, but I encourage you to get into this. So I've been speaking to the emotional wound side and drawing strength and helping with that, where we have an emotional side, a sense of maybe brokenness or woundedness. But and so I'm pointing to even when we feel that emotional woundedness, our wholeness exists. Now, there's another side to this, and Jamie knows this very well. When we have a physical impairment, we can sometimes we shift our perception of ourselves as now we're not whole like we thought we were, or as whole, and if our body's impaired. But when our body's impaired, this wholeness I speak of still exists, and it's still a strength you can draw on for unstoppable inner strength. And so Jamie Gilliland has a lot of business expertise, and she's worked with big names in the industry, Grant Cardone, there's other people, but she's helped save businesses. But she also has experience in her own life uh, saving something else, helping herself through a change, and she's doing so like a champion. So, Jamie, go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I think, and by the way, I loved that the song Unstoppable was the lead in to this call. So, to this conversation, because I believe that each and every one of us was born absolutely whole. When you look at a child, there is nothing that you can claim, and there's nothing that child thinks is wrong with them. They are perfect in every way. And as we grow up, we have so many people tell us things, and they tell it thinking they're working towards our best interest. I don't think there's any, malice in what they're doing, but they tell us you can't do that, or how, my mother was famous for this. One time I had a big dinner for a gentleman who's an author who's sold 4 billion books. So I'm sure you got his book on your shelf. And he was having a black tie dinner for his 80th birthday. And my mother, and I was so excited. I got this big beautiful red gown. She said, "You can't wear that." And I said, "Why can't I?" She said, "It's a black tie. Everybody's going to be wearing black. You'll stand out like a sore thumb." I said, "Mom, I'm in marketing. I'm supposed to stand out." And that's just a fun example, but how many times have we been told, stay within color, within the lines, do this, do that? So I think a lot of what people feel is our brokenness is coming from outside perspectives. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I've learned is I am not defined by what other people think. I'm defined by what I think. And I think that's the core of our wholeness. And if you focus on, speaking of songs, who are you, right? The who are you? Think about what you are and what you belong. Each and every one of us has experiences in our lives which make us unique. And they may be painful as we go through them, as you were talking about, the emotional trauma. I was sexually abused by my stepfather. I lost my husband, my first husband, when I had 3 very small children. I had a massive brain tumor. 2 months ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. By the way, I bought a website, PD is not me, because, and I cringe when I say to somebody, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, they all say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Why are you sorry?" "Because you're a Parkinson's patient." No, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. PD is not me. Right. I am not defined by the fact that I have an illness. I am not broken because of that illness. I am a fighter who is now knows the goal and what I'm focusing on and how to beat it. That's where my inner strength comes from. That's what I have to focus on. Otherwise, you end up in the downward spiral. And this is unfortunately what happened with my first husband. You end up on the woe is me? Why is the world against me? And it downward spirals into depression, into all kinds of things that I don't believe we don't want to go there. Of course, we as inner champions can beat that. And this experience, every one of those things that you go through, I believe makes us stronger. It hurts like hell going through them. It may be, whether it's physical pain, whether it's emotional pain, there's still dramatic pain there. And I loved what you were saying earlier. I can acknowledge what that pain is, and I can acknowledge that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that this experience is only adding to the uniqueness of what I can bring to the world, if that makes sense.
100%. And that's, so there's some value to that.
Thank
And
you.
you had, so you, as you expressed, there were invitations, well-meaning, but invitations to adopt a diminished identity, to shift out of your you-ness and shrink down into a little box of perception that is, maybe this big or this big.
Yeah.
But your being is this big, and there's magnificence in your being that does not shrink down because your body has a challenge.
Exactly. Now, let me tell a quick story, actually two stories. So this experience, each piece of this is something that makes us who we are. I have identical twin boys who are 23. Now, if we believed that you were born exactly who you are and nothing could change that, I've learned firsthand. Identical twin boys, raised exactly the same, slept in the same room. When they were infants, we would wake one up. When one got up to with a dirty diaper, or they were hungry, we'd wake the second one up. So they literally were on exactly the same schedule. And they're two very different adults at 23. They have had similar experiences, but they've veered off in different paths. So, the wholeness that's in you is unique. It's different, even in identical DNA. They're totally different people. Now, going back to that perception, that little box that you were talking about, when I was diagnosed with a massive brain tumor, it was the size of a golf ball. The doctors, when they told me, they said, we're really sorry. You have a massive brain tumor. You have 6 months to live. And I said, that doesn't work for me. And they said, well, I said, what are my options? And they said, well, there's a surgery you can go through, but you have less than a 20% chance of surviving the surgery. And I said, that doesn't work for me either. What else you got? And they thought I was nuts. But, I've always been a problem solver. So it was like, this is a problem. How do we solve it? And the doctor said, those are your options. We think you should enjoy your last 6 months and with your children, get your affairs in order, and just enjoy those 6 months. Well, my twins were 4. My daughter was 11 at the time. And I looked at the doctor in the eye and I said, I want option C. And she said, there is no option C. I said, sure there is. You do the surgery, I survive, and I live to see my kids grow up and get married. One of my sons got married last year. So the 6 months that they told me I was going to live, I've outlived 15 times. Had I listened to the doctors, I wouldn't be here to talk to you guys today. I wouldn't have been here to live through my children's life. I believed in the pit of my stomach, my wholeness, that whatever it was, and I am not condoning don't listen to doctors. I'm condoning listen to your pit of your stomach. And that, I believe, is where our wholeness is. That's where the essence of who we are is. Listen to that intuition, to that inner voice. And don't listen to the ones that say you're not worthy. This isn't right for you. All of those negative voices, but listen to the one that says, I'm this person, I'm me, I'm important, and I'm going to go through, I feel this is what's right for me. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks is right, as long as it's legal, moral, and
Right.
all of those things. But listen to your heart. Listen to, and I think Marta said that a couple of times.
Mhm.
What's on your heart is there. I believe that. As a matter of fact, I have a little ritual that I use. I use it daily, but I also use it when I'm going through those, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not feeling right, or I need some strength to get through whatever this experience is I'm going through right now. That I'd love to share if you don't mind.
I want to, yeah, we've got a little time for that. I do want to hear that. I want you to share that. Right before you do, I want to add to something, add a point to your example
Sure.
with you and the doctors and your choice. And
Sure.
I just so in terms of success with that approach, I want to encourage people to think of if the doctors had been right in the sense of longevity, and you still applied, but you had applied that mentality you did and that choice, you would have succeeded in a better quality of life during that time still.
Correct.
So that would still be a success, even if the surgery didn't go the way you wanted it to.
Correct.
It wouldn't be oh, I tried that and I failed. It would still be a success because of enhancing the quality of your life in that time. And then if it was only, say, 6 months past when the doctors determined and you got another year, that's still a success.
Correct.
So I point to that because we can sometimes have an all or nothing mentality. Oh, if I go for the best case scenario and I don't get that, then I failed. And that's not the case. It's not a failure. I just wanted to add that into people's perceptions as we get going in this. But yeah, please.
Yeah, and actually, let's talk about failure for a minute.
Okay.
Because part of our wholeness in making these decisions, I've been in business for years and I've had major successes, but I've also had major failures getting to those successes. So, they always say an overnight success. Yeah, it was an overnight success with 16 years of failure on the way up to that success, right?
Yeah,
So,
just like with bands, they come out of nowhere. Wow, they're suddenly at the top and they never heard of them before. That's instant success.
they've been
Really, because they've been playing for 15 years in the local bar and no one knew.
dive bars, exactly.
Right.
I think I saw them once, right? Yeah. Actually, they talk about Zach Brown because I live in Georgia, and a lot of folks around here have seen or Luke, what's his name? Perry? Is that not Luke Perry? That was the actor. Luke Bryan.
Okay.
The country singer went to school here. I'm in Statesboro, Georgia. So people talk about, they knew them when they were playing these dive bars. Exactly the same thing. So I don't, failure to so many people is a bad word. Failure is not. It's a step in the direction of getting where you want to be. There's just multiple steps to get there. And I believe we're perfect as a human being. I mean, perfect as an entity, a soul, a human being. We're not perfect. Oh, there we go.
Hey, there's your wholeness emulating from
wholeness, exactly. we are not meant to be perfect all the time. Wouldn't we be really boring if we were perfect all the time?
That would bore me. I'd be bored with myself. I enjoy growth and strengthening and
exactly
challenge and yeah.
Little pain to get through. And you did Kung Fu, right? Any sort of exercise, anytime you start something new, there's pain involved in the process until you get good at it.
Yeah.
So we've got to embrace that pain, know that it might not be fun, but I'm in control of it. Actually, can I swear for a minute?
Yeah. I want you to know we've only got a few minutes and you
Sure.
wanted to share. So as far as all the things you want to share, just know we've got just a few minutes.
Yeah, no problem. This is one of my brands. It's called the Badass Bitch. And bitch stands for babe in total control of herself. It's an acronym. And that's what I think each one of us with our wholeness should embrace, that we are a badass. We are in control. And that's what's going to help us get to whatever that next level is, whether it's a short failure or a long success. It's going to take us in the way. So this ritual is short and sweet. I got it from a friend of mine, client of mine, Roz Place. And I want you to put your hand over your heart.
And thank you for bringing in something that we can do together and experience it in the moment, out of concept into application.
Good. I love it. Hand over the heart, feet on the floor, eyes closed. And I want you to feel these words as you repeat them after me. I love you. I accept who you are. I love you unconditionally.
I love you unconditionally.
Can you feel that? Do you feel that tingle?
Yeah, I'm feeling it resting into the words I'm saying, into my body connection with my hand. I feel it rather than think it. I rest into what I'm saying towards myself.
Good. Do that. Do that once a day. Do it when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed at night. Do it when you're challenged mentally, when you're going through the pain of some experience. It's something that brings it back to you. And you're talking to yourself, to your heart, not to, and granted, I want you to love unconditionally those people around you that are important to you. So that's important to them as well. But you've got to love yourself in order to feel that wholeness, in order to bring it out.
And this exercise, this practice is more than an affirmation. What it is so we have our thoughts and our awareness. There's so much stimulation in our day that pulls our thoughts and focuses to a million different things if we let it. Think of this as, okay, letting that distraction go from, it's like a checking back in with yourself, a grounding in to the experience. So this is beyond an affirmation. And when you put your hand to your body, I mean, your hand is your body, but it's a gesture that brings your experience
circuit. Yeah.
Circuit, right. And then to your heart. So then your mind and heart, right? And by the way, I mentioned mental kung fu a while back in today's interviews. One of the practices of mental kung fu with training the mind is we let the mind steep in the heart. And then the heart leads the mind. And I was describing this to someone once. He said, I love that. I can picture it like my mind's like a in a teacup and the heart's the tea, and then it's steeping. And I'm like, it's that, yeah, but it's a sense of feeling in it, grounding into the experience. So think of it as you're just shifting your awareness from the distractions to oh yeah, that's right. I do care for myself. I do love myself. I do, and feel into your wholeness when you do it. And it's just a calling into the experience.
Yeah.
And practice helps deepen that experience.
Yes, it gets stronger every time you do it.
So thank you for that. And we're at the end of our interview, I believe. So two things to do real quick here. One is I think you have a gift for people, right?
I do. I am a digital marketer. I am a business automation specialist. I'm all about moving you from frustration to freedom. So that's what my regular business is, the logo and other stuff. Those are side ancillary businesses. And the gift I have is what I call my activity tracker. And so many times in the experience of what we're going through, in the failures we're feeling, it's because we can't figure out how to make the time to make things happen. And this tracker lets you track not only what you're doing. So I want you to take it and every 15 minutes, set a timer on your phone for 2 weeks. I know, everybody's groaning. these,
Your wholeness is emulating again.
I know, there we go. Hey, I'll do this too. I think it's a different one. Yeah, there's the confetti. So the activity tracker is going to help you identify where your time is going and figure out either how to delegate it or automate it so that you can eliminate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am happy to do there's a link to do a 15-minute call with me if you've done the activity tracker and want to go over that with me.
Awesome. And that just leads efficiency into effectiveness.
Frustration to freedom.
Yeah, and helps guide your self-leadership.
Yeah.
Right? So last thing, real quick, we've just got a few seconds. So in summary fashion, what encouragement do you have for folks that are listening to believe in themselves, being able to use their inner strengths and the inner champion identity to help themselves in their lives, and then also, and of course, feel their wholeness and use that as a strength?
2 more songs. Listen to Your Heart and It's My Life, right? Good old Bon Jovi. You are the master of your life. Just believe in yourself. And it's going to go the way it's supposed to go for you.
And I hope you take, so we have belief in you.
Mm.
And I and all the other speakers, the whole team of us that are showing up for you this weekend in this summit, we're showing up for you in these ways because we do believe in you. We believe in your ability to do the things that we're pointing you toward. Well, thank you for this interview and your time and your for contributing your experience, expertise, and energy and your own wonderfulness. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.